In this lesson, we're going to talk about articulation selection. And what that means is simply which versions of a specific drum sound do you want to put on your pads. Hi, my name is Dragon from Dragon Finger Drums, and I'm here to teach you how to play finger drums like a real drummer. If you want to learn the secrets to realistic drumming on the pads, make sure you don't miss out on my free finger drumming starter course. You can get it by clicking the link in the video description or the pinned comment down below. So an articulation is one way of getting a sound out of an acoustic element, whether it be a cymbal or a drum. So on pad 2, I have my normal open snare hit, which is just when the drumstick hits the center of the drum head. Pad 6 right above that is the rim shot, which is where the stick hits the center of the drum head and the metal rim at the same time. Pad 7 is the side stick, which is where the end of the stick is actually resting on the snare drum head and it's clicking the metal rim like that. So these are examples of different articulations of different drums that you can use. Now, as I already explained, I'll actually rest my kick and snare up here on pads 5 and 6, and I'll use pad 6 for my standard accent snare hits. And then when I want to do a bunch of fill notes, I'll go down here to pad 2 because there's already a great contrast in volume between these two different articulations. So it just creates a really nice sound in the rhythm. Now, one thing I recommend against, which I know some finger drummers do, is to set a pad that's a ghost note pad, which a ghost note is just a very, very soft hit. We don't want to set any pad that's artificially turned down to low velocity. Some finger drummers, I know they have a normal snare hit or a rim shot snare, and then they use an alternate pad, sort of like I'm doing to play ghost notes, but they have that pad artificially turned to a very, very quiet volume. So no matter how hard they hit it, it sounds like a very soft ghost note. And that may be sort of like a cheat or an easy trick or a hack to get a bunch of really soft ghost note fill hits without having to control your dynamics, but we don't want that. We want to always make sure we're controlling our dynamics. And this open snare hit, I can play it very loudly and forcefully. I've just trained my fingers to usually use it for soft ghost note hits. So we don't want anything that's artificially manipulated to sound louder or softer. We want things that are naturally going to sound that way and then still have a normal dynamic range so that we can get the most realistic performance out of our fingers and we can still maintain our dynamic control. Another great example of articulation selection is where I've got my ride cymbal here on pad 15 and my ride bell on pad 16. Now this is great because if you're playing maybe just a standard eighth note ride pattern, you can create a really nice swingy feel simply by alternating between these two articulations for your hits. I'll give you an example of that here. So that was just a basic example, but you can sort of hear how even though I still have full dynamic control, just the fact that they're different articulations, which on a drum kit literally means I'm hitting different places on the cymbal, just that fact makes it sound really nice and cool and swingy. So it's a trick, but it's not a cheat. We don't want anything that feels like a cheat or like it's getting us around having to actually develop our skills, but we do love to have things like that, which are really nice tricks that we have available to us, which don't actually hinder our skill development. So there are a lot of different articulations you can select. You can have multiple different articulations for one drum like I have on the snare, or you can have one drum with the same articulation on multiple pads like I do with the kick and the hi-hat. And that is for rapid playing. So if you want to do really fast fills and rolls on a particular element, but you want to be able to do them on the same hand, because normally we would bring our hands together to do a really fast roll or fill. But if you want to be able to do that on the same hand, that is why I have the exact same kick drum sound on these two fingers on pads 5 and 1, so that from my normal resting kick and snare position here, I can move down very easily and play double kicks. Same with the hi-hat. Normally I'm resting my middle finger here on my dominant hand on my closed hi-hat, and this is my normal resting position. And then if I want to do really fast hi-hat rolls, I can move over here, similar to what I do with the kick, and do a really fast roll. Again, these particular fingerings will be explained in each of the fingering videos and why they work and how they work, but I'm just showing you here for the purpose of talking about articulation selections. Sometimes you want to set up your pads with multiple different articulations of one drum, and sometimes you want multiple of the same articulation for rapid rolls on a single hand.